Hello students, this is Dr.NoorNigar and today I am going to summarize chapter 2 of Carvalho. As you know, in the first chapter, the author had been to the cooperative society to buy honey for his father. Now, when the author was just half a mile from Mudikere, that is after buying the honey, his jeep, which was 40 years old, made strange noise and it stopped. He checked all the parts of the vehicles. He tried starting it, but he could not start his jeep. Now, all of a sudden, when he checked the fuel tank, it was empty. So, and it was getting dark, so he was a little worried. And the narrator asked help from two men who were on a Java motorcycle. They offered to get petrol for him from Mudikere, but the narrator did not have any money with him because, as you know, he had only 70 rupees, which he paid for the honey. So he had no money with him, but he asked these men that if they tell his name to the owner of the petrol bunk, he will give them petrol. And the men also, they recognize him to be somebody from the film industry, and they were very eager to help him. And when these men went to get petrol for him, the author was waiting for them to return. And the bees, during this time, what happened, the bees were drawn to the honey tin, which was kept in the jeep. And they tried to break through the transparent windshield. And when they could not do, they danced around, hissing in anger. And soon there were hundreds of bees circling around his jeep. And he quickly got down from the jeep and went and stood under a tree like a refugee. Now, when these men returned with petrol, they were surprised to see the author standing under the tree. One of them asked, "Why are you afraid of the bees?" He boldly moved towards the jeep. He shoved the bees and swapped one dead with the palm of his hand. That means he killed one of the bees and he just tried to move the bees from his hand. And immediately he was stung by the bees. They all ran and took shelter under a tree. And the men, they left. The narrator requested the men to leave because, it was getting dark. And he said, "I will wait for darkness to descend. And, when it is dark, the bees will move into they will go away and he will go home." And he said, "It is about to rain. It is better you are in two-wheeler. You go home." And these men leave, and the author waits for the darkness to descend. And finally, the author is able to reach home. It was quite late. His wife knew that he had been to buy honey for his father, and she was surprised to see that instead of few bottles of honey, her husband was holding a whole tin. And then he asked his kitchen assistant, Pyara, who was a servant in his house, who was helping them with with cooking and all, to open the tin. And Pyara thought the honey to be coconut oil. That means the author asked Pyara to guess what was inside the tin. He peeped into the tin and then he said it was something like coconut oil. But what was inside the tin? It was like thick whitish liquid, which was very much like coconut oil. And when the narrator dipped a thin stick into the liquid and he pulled it out, some whitish glue-like substance came out. It was actually honey which was there in the tin, but it did not look like honey. It was hard and it was a whitish liquid like coconut oil. Now, why was the author disappointed with the honey? Because he was expecting to see some shiny, luminous means shiny, heavy, golden texture, thick honey. That is what he was expecting. But here he saw something, whitish, something like coconut oil. He was very much disappointed. If you remember, Mandana had said that he is giving him the best honey. And the narrator immediately thought of scolding Mandana the next day when he would go there to clear the bills. He had given 70 rupees and the cost of the tin was 78. He had promised that he would return 8 rupees the next day. So he thought he'll go and scold Mandana for that. And here, Pyara, the kitchen assistant, he assuming the honey to have the quality of coconut oil, he concluded because it is cold, the honey has become hard. But in reality, if you see, a honey never becomes hard because of cold. Yes, coconut oil turns hard because of cold. But poor Pyara, he assumed this honey to be like to have the quality of coconut oil because it had become hard. Okay, with this we come to the end of we have come to the end of this chapter. Thank you very much.